Unplugged.
I'm John Feely of Feely's Clutch, and you are watching Reptiles Unplugged.
This is Will Rose from Royal Canadian Reptiles, and you're watching Reptiles Unplugged.
Guys, it's KB Reptiles.
Team Helga.
Team Beard.
And you're watching
Reptiles Unplugged.
It's Justin from Jacob Luck Reptiles, and you're watching Reptiles Unplugged.
Nick with Renowned Reptiles here, and you're watching Reptiles Unplugged.
It's your boy Harry Wayne from Royal Canvas Exotics, and you're tuning into Reptiles Unplugged.
You're Triple B, and you're watching Reptiles Unplugged.
Man, ever since last, what's up, everybody? Sorry. I'm sorry. Yeah, the last Wednesday. If you all missed last Wednesday, we had Brian on here from Triple B. Actually, did not realize we cut his name off in the in our intro, and it's just so funny now when I watch it. I'm just like, man, we did cut his name off. I didn't even realize we did that. But he did all this cool editing for us and all this stuff. Anyways, how's everybody doing tonight? You know, obviously Joel here, Stay Pretty Exotics. Adam, man, how's it going?
Going good, man. So be careful. High desert shirt makes you lose all your hair. I don't know if yours.
Yeah, what's going on here, dude?
I put his shirt on. And then all my hair fell out. So,
really?
Yeah.
How long? Like, how long does it take? Is there like a? Yeah. I don't know.
I'm a little older than you are, so mine was pretty instantaneous. Maybe your youth was keeping it around.
I might have a little bit of a resistance to it. I don't know. I can't go bald, man. I have huge ears. It looks like I'm wearing headphones, you know,
right.
So if I was bald, man.
Well, I shaved my beard and I realized I had no chin. I was like, where the hell did my chin go?
Yeah.
I got wrinkles on top of my head. I got like fat head and no chin. I'm like, God, that's it. I'm growing the beard back. Can I glue this back on?
Right. No, yeah. Chris is it? Who's the next? Who's the new host? Yeah, I know. Yeah, this is Adam. I've never known Adam to have no beard. It's crazy to me. Crazy to me. Blows my mind. Didn't even know he had a face under there, actually, as it turns out. He does. He does have a face under there.
Oh, man. Now you guys get to see the gooberness in its full effect.
Yes. Bring it. Bring it here for us.
Enough about us tonight, Joel, because we've got somebody awesome with us. Can't wait.
Absolutely.
Can't wait. You guys are going to be in for a show tonight. We've got a great member of the community with us. And with that said, let's go ahead and bring him on and let him introduce himself to everybody. So here we are. Oh,
come on, guys.
What's up, Jason?
You can hear
What's
me all
going
right?
on, man?
Yeah, we got you good, man.
Yeah.
So
hey,
guys...
thanks for jumping on.
Hey, thanks for having me. You know.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, we appreciate it, man. You know, I know this takes a lot of time and conflicting schedules. We were talking about that last week. Like, this is like dinner time in our house. So, you know, we appreciate everybody showing up, obviously, in chat. And then obviously, you know, you coming on here, you know, thank you, man. We, you know, definitely, it's going to be cool. Dude, first and foremost, background. Dude, your background right now. What is going on there?
Did I specifically match the green board that I haven't painted with my shirt? Is that what you're saying?
Right, yeah, dude. Like everything is so like aesthetically put together right there as I'm watching this, dude. I'm liking it.
It's so that I don't spoil the surprise because I haven't done a room tour yet.
Okay. Yeah, I'm liking it.
I thought it was completely coordinated for tonight, though. So, it looks good. I love the enclosures in the back too, man. It's a very awesome.
They turned out all right, and we're probably getting close to doing revision 2 on all of these, but
those are the customs, right?
Yeah, these I built all of these. Yeah,
right. Yeah, that's what's really cool. You know, so you know, not to jump the gun a little bit, but you know, it's something I was talking about last week when we were announcing that you're coming on your YouTube channel, and a lot of these build videos that you're putting out are pretty cool. And they're like right there, like that is nice looking. I mean, something like that's probably a couple $1,000s, you know, if you were to buy something like that, you know, so that's impressive work back there, man. You know, that's good.
Appreciate it. Yeah. It's going to be a disappointment to the fan base, I guess, when I stop building things and start going commercial because I'm getting lazy.
Right. No, I get that.
Actually, in all fairness, the thing that bugs me most about all this is none of it matches. That's the problem.
Yeah.
So I mean, I've got some of these racks I've built in pairs, so they look pretty good together. But I've got 5 different tub sizes and styles in here, and it's so that part. My OCD doesn't like it. I'll tell you that.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Yeah, and I mean, we're in a fairly OCD driven, I feel like, industry too. We're really specific. We're trying to get perfect genes and all that. So makes sense. You want the snake room to look just how you want it too. I mean, I get it, man. I get it.
Well,
I like it.
Especially now because people don't know. Obviously, this looks different than videos from a few months back. But my wife and I moved in June or July, something like that, while she was 7 months pregnant, and I went from a room in my basement that was like 10 or 12 by 24 or something like that to building this room in the third car stall in my garage, but still having to leave a 6-foot opening behind this wall behind me to put my motorcycle in so I could still put the cars in there.
Right.
So this room now, inside volume is now like 9 by 16.
Okay.
So I got to be way more space conscious. And in the process, not only do I need to do that, but I put in a 3-foot long wash basin and bench and hot and cold running water and everything. So that took up a huge space, and I don't have the closet anymore that my incubators used to be in. So now they're part of the floor, so I had to, this is probably going to change quite a bit in the next few months because I need it to be far more space efficient if I want the collection to get any bigger,
Right. Yeah. That's, an important thing to consider, man, because things can go quick nowadays, especially with a lot of these double recessive projects everybody's working and, a display cage like that,
that's where revision 2 of this is probably going to get rebuilt to be a different set of size parameters. So I can hopefully either fit more in here that are still displays or go to like boa drawers or something like that that's more efficient. I'm not sure what I'm gonna do yet, but and this girl down here, my big doom rolls boa, I gotta build another cage just like this because your girl Moonglow is supposed to be in here for this dude at some point. So
right. Hey man, if she ended up in a cage like that, why not, man? That would be she'd live a good life still, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Send her over, Joel. Send her over.
I've actually got both of the doom rolls in there right now. They're under the paper, but I'm hoping to get some doom rolls this year. So
that'd be cool. Yeah, I know. That Moonglow, I almost have had her for almost 9 years, 10 years now. I almost feel bad that she's never gotten to see a man. So considerations, dude.
Yeah. Hey, have you noticed any, with all the moving around and reconfiguring, any kind of adverse effects with breeding going on or how the animals are handling it? Like any growing pains?
So funny you mentioned that. Obviously, we decided to move right in the middle of the breeding season and towards the beginning of the egg season, right? And the first problem, if people watch some videos of mine from back in like May, when we decided we were going to buy this place, we went to list my house, my old place, and the real estate agent told us that we could leave all the animals in the basement, but we had to disclose to every person that walked through it for an open house that there was 85 snakes or whatever in that room. You can open the door if you want or not, but just be aware.
Right.
And I'm like, man, I don't know if I got patience for this. So, it just so happened that I had just bought a new 7x14 trailer, enclosed trailer for my dad that I was going to tow home in June when we went back to visit family. And so it was sitting in my driveway at the time. I said to my real estate agent, I said, if I move all the cages and everything into the trailer, do we have to tell them that they're there? Right. And she said, no. If they're in the garage, yes. In the trailer, no. So I literally, we scheduled with her. She said, I'll be there at 12:30, whatever, tomorrow to to start showings or whatever. And so I had a buddy of mine I worked with showed up at 9 o'clock, and he and I by ourselves moved every animal out of the basement and into that trailer and fully functioning.
Holy crap.
Wow.
So I went from an established room to a 7x14 trailer where everything was plugged in together. These were in there. All of my big breeder kit. The only thing that did not go in that room was one of my small stacks and my incubator. Those stayed in the closet.
Oh my gosh.
And the other stack was empty, so it didn't matter. But
right.
And I had them all plugged in. They were all on heat. Everything was running. But the problem was, they spent like 35 days or so in that trailer in July or in June or whatever.
Yeah.
And
rough,
so I was getting temperature swings from like 96 down to 65 at night.
Right.
It was insane, and it was impossible to control. So I'm thinking, and if you watch a couple of the old videos, I was thinking, there ain't no way in hell I'm going to have a decent season here, or anything's going to hatch. I'm probably going to cook half these animals. Ain't going to work, right? But I had no option at that point.
Right.
Because I certainly wasn't going to carry them all back downstairs again for 3 weeks before I moved.
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
And as it turned out, I actually pulled a clutch in the trailer.
Wow.
This big fire female down here, I pulled her clutch from in the trailer. And then when we moved over here, we drove all the way across town with me standing in the back of the trailer holding all these in place because the trailer hadn't been built out yet, so I had nothing to tie them down to. And we rolled them into this. We rolled them into this area, but none of this had been built, so I was getting ridiculous temperature swings and super hot and cold again in the garage.
It wasn't enclosed, right?
Yeah, and then when we got the room all framed in, that was all fine and well, but then it started to get really hot in here because we were having 100-degree days regularly.
Right.
But I finally was able to get the mini split up, and I got the temperature stabilized and everything's running. And so as it turned out, we ended up with 19 clutches in total, which
how many
blew me away. I didn't think that was going to happen.
How many were you pairing for, out of curiosity?
I think my board said I had put 32 pairs together.
Okay.
But a couple of them were not for the intent of producing this year. They were to hopefully get
it was
girls,
like the warm up.
Or get girls going again or whatever.
Yeah.
And that, but yeah, so I mean there's 30 females right here next to me, and out of that we pulled 19 clutches.
19, right. And so not terrible considering everything that you just labeled off.
Yeah, and
that's crazy.
I'd have to go back and look at my records, but I think I've had a total of 7 slugs.
Wow, so even a great slug ratio. That was going to be my next step.
Yeah, I lost all but one animal out of one clutch. It was an incubation error, and I've lost a couple, 3 or 4 animals out, sporadically through there or whatnot, twisted umbilicus or whatever. But yeah, I think I had like 6 or 7 slugs, and that was it.
Yeah,
nice,
that's pretty
dude.
cool.
Yeah, hell yeah, dude. That's solid, man.
Yeah, so I'm going to need your snakes to give all my snakes a talking to, because I moved right at the beginning of my breeding season and ended up with like nothing. So
yeah, I mean, how many clutches did you get, Adam?
Just one clutch and it slugged
just one,
out.
right? Yeah, right.
Yeah, but you got Miguel doing all the work for you.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you consider that over there, which was out of my hands, I've had success. But stuff here,
I'll tell you what,
that worked out.
I'll have them teach your snakes how to breed if you can have them teach my snakes how to eat.
Okay.
Because that was the other big problem in all of this process. When I knew we were moving, I completely quit breeding rats because I didn't have a place for it.
Right.
So I had a full rat breeding operation in a separate room in my basement. I was producing 400 to 500 rats a month, something like that. But we knew we had a baby on the way, and we were moving to a place I didn't have facilities to breed the rats anymore. So I had our local rat breeder, who's about 2 hours west of me here. He's a big operation. I sold the entire operation to him for credit and quit breeding. And so I went from, being able to drop rats in here every time I wanted to having to free frozen thawed in the middle of the breeding season during the move.
Oh man.
And it's been a nightmare.
Yeah, that's a tough transition, man. It's
but
tough
I'm getting
on
all the hatchlings started on frozen, so that's kind of cool.
That's good,
nice.
Yeah. And that's a chore also in itself.
Is it ever? Yeah. Is it ever? That's what I do. I
Yeah,
convert everything to frozen thawed.
Yeah.
So I
I'm
have
thinking
to
about going
comment
live,
because
though.
I have to comment. If you see me looking over here, I've got my iPad up watching the chat, and I saw a secret Secret City Serpents said ASF problem solved. There's only one problem with that is they're not legal in Montana.
You guys too.
So nobody in Montana breeds them because we can't have them anyway.
Yep.
Right. Yeah, there's a few states. Yeah, there's a few states like that, right?
Yeah, and 4 or 5 that I've heard of, something like that.
Yeah. Then that's a bummer, but what can you do, I suppose. So, are you staying on frozen thawed, or do you plan on going back to live, or what are you doing now?
I would love to go back to live for the convenience.
Right.
I like the feeding response, and I like the fact that if they don't eat it, I can just throw it back in the rack, or I can freeze it off for surplus, or whatever the case may be. But that operation I had took a solid 6 or 7 hour day on my weekend every week without fail, not to mention the cost to do it for all the bedding and everything else and food and whatnot. That was a 1 day a week on my weekend full-time job, and so that, with the fact that I don't have a place to do it, so I would have to build a full rodent shed out in the backyard, which I don't have a ton of room for, and then I got to figure out how to insulate it so I can keep it temperate throughout the years, because we get sub-zero temperatures up here. I mean, I get everything from negative temperature highs in the winter to over 100 degrees in the summer. So how do you protect against that on an outdoor element?
Tough.
So I likely will never hear. Unless and until we leave Montana, I will probably not breed live anymore.
Gotcha.
I do supplement occasionally with the guy in Bozeman down the way that I can meet him halfway, or he delivers stuff here all the time for the pet shop here in town. So a couple days ago, I had him bring me 30 live fuzzies to get some of the cantankerous started, and then I'll do frozen from there. So I might order 30 smalls and feed this rack live next week or something,
Right.
So, but I'll be frozen thawed probably for good now.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Making the convert, huh? That's crazy. Yeah, because I'm thinking about going the other way. I'm thinking about going all live myself.
I'd love to, man. It was so easy and so convenient, but it is a lot of work when you have that big of a operation to maintain.
Yeah. Right.
If you've only got one rack with 6 colonies in it, the rack plans that I have on my page, breed 6 colonies with 3 rotating males or whatever, and it produces enough for 10 females and 3 males that you're breeding regularly. That's one thing, but I've got 65 females in here, so
that's a lot of hungry males, especially during breeding season.
And as it is, my hatchling rack's almost full. There's 35 hatchlings in there, and there's another 25 eggs still cooking. So it's
right.
It just didn't make any sense. So.
Yeah. So here's something kind of Jerry brought up is frozen thawed would cost me a couple $1,000 a month. What does a feeding bill look like for frozen thawed for you, or how's that working?
So in all fairness, I don't know, because I had been, the entire time I was producing live, when they would get to various sizes or I had tons of overflow or whatever, I was culling and freezing a lot of it. So I had an entire freezer full of rats when I moved. And then when I went to sell the operation to Charlie, we agreed that I could cull off and save 3 racks worth, because he was going to blend my stock with what he already had.
Right.
And so I culled off and saved a bunch of variety of different sizes. So I had a freezer full of stuff when we moved over here. And then in doing it, I had a bunch of credit with him to use for the operation. So I would just call him and say, hey, I need another 100, fuzzies and this or whatever, and he would just ship them to him and take them out of there. I will say I did just get my first actual order from him. That was 100. I think it was 100 smalls 100 mediums and 100 fuzzies, I think is what it was.
Uh-huh.
And it was just over $500.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
So
that sounds about right,
realistically, and since there's no way every snake in here will eat every week, and a variety of price differences, obviously, it's probably, it would probably be $200 to $300 a month if I had to order it regularly from him.
Right. Yeah.
But it's what I kind of have been doing. I do the same thing with Coca blocks. Is I wait until now I'm down to 4 blocks, and I'll call Jesse and I'll order 10 or 20 at a time, and get a bulk discount on it. And so that's kind of what I've been doing. And so now when I go to order new stock in a few months or whatever, I'll either call Charlie or I'll call Desiree and say, hey, I need this. I need 400 rats or whatever.
What's this thing? Right. Yeah. It's a very real thing to consider, though. I mean, we've started to ramp up the amount of animals we're kind of keep getting and then I'm purchasing right now. I feel like, and it's starting to step up. It's like, man, there's a lot of mouths in there. I added it up there today. It was like 60. I got 60 in there. They got to eat every week. That's 60 rats. That's a lot. That starts adding up financially. Especially on the frozen thawed diet, and then live. So breeding rats, man, is a reality of growth. I feel like in this hobby sometimes it's crazy.
Yeah. I think it's a trade-off, though. I mean, obviously, breeding your own is going to save you money, right? But if you paid yourself for the time you spent on the rodents and everything like that, and you were doing other things that either made you money or improved something, I don't know, right? It's kind of a trade-off a little bit here and there. If you're buying your frozen in bulk, obviously get yourself a nice coffin freezer. It turns out not that bad, right?
Yeah, and it isn't terrible, doing, because you can't, I do save my orders till I need, 500, and I just buy a ton of them because I have that big freezer just dedicated to it. And that does help with the price. And that is something you can't really do with a smaller collection, I guess, what I have with live, trying to get a live order is tough because I really don't have that many live. Or, 60 rats isn't wholesale to a lot of people. So it's a weird gray area I feel like we're in right now. So options are always cool.
And it sucks too because of where I'm located. That's one of the things I actually mentioned to Charlie. I was like, hey, if we can come up with a deal here, I'll do a weekly order of live from you. Right. I'll just continue feeding live, and I just won't have to deal with the bullshit of doing it myself.
Doing it right.
The problem is that's a 2+ hour drive from here each way. So he either has to come out and back, or whatever, or we got to meet somewhere in the middle and coordinate once a week to do it. Right. And you're looking at what, 85, an average of $3. You're working at $150, $200 per trip. It wasn't worth it for him to do a 2 or 4 hour round trip for one collection's worth of order.
Right.
So if he were an hour closer or something, I'd have live delivery every week. It wouldn't be a big deal.
Right.
Yeah. And then I found this other lady in town that does breed. I don't know what she does it with, but she does breed rats for whatever reason. And I told her, I said, we came up with an agreement on price and like a pricing tier. We get to a certain point, I get them cheaper on nothing but fuzzies just to get the hatchlings feeding and out the door.
Right.
And I was like, I will buy 40 fuzzies from you every single week for the end of time if you can produce them. And she just can't get her production to support that, so I quit going there.
Right. Yeah, that's tough, man.
Yeah.
That's hatchlings eat.
And that's kind of what I'm like. My rat guy, there's probably maybe 3 breeders locally that we all use the same guy, so we're all kind of fighting for the same stock. So I end up feeding live twice a month, and then the other times I'm feeding frozen thawed. So I kind of rotate
between the two. Yeah, that's interesting.
And I'll actually let it go a little longer. Like if they just had live, I won't feed again at the 5 or 7 day mark. I'll stretch it to the 10 day, and I'll make sure everybody's hungry because
then feed. Right. Yeah. And then you can refeed live quicker because they're, the feeding response is there.
Yeah. With live, it's great because if somebody doesn't want to eat it, well, they, it goes into somebody else's tub. The frozen thawed, if I lay that down on the paper, that's that snake's wrap, right?
Right,
Like it
right.
doesn't come out and go to somebody else. They either eat it or they waste it, right? So,
yeah, right. So it works. Yeah.
So I think
Interesting, man. Yeah, it's the crazy stuff. I guess maybe now we could spin this into some ball python talk. Now that we've gotten a little bit of the brick and mortar, I feel like, of kind of some of the stuff, man. But it's really interesting because you've done it. You've done a lot of that stuff, and it was some of the first stuff that I started watching your channel for was like a lot of the build videos and the wrap videos, and just stuff like that. So often overlooked that whole side of things in this hobby. I feel like coming into it.
I will say, back to the OCD, my rat room was perfect. I loved it because those racks, I could build those things. I could build those things repeatable, and they were exactly the same every time. And so I had 3 down one wall and 3 down the other wall with a window in the middle, and they were all perfectly aligned, and they all matched, and they all had the same orange 5-gallon buckets. I was like, that room was awesome the way it was all done.
Right. Hey, dude, that's an important room, man. That's an important room.
Messy though.
Messy. Yeah, that's an elegant anomaly. The worst part of my week is cleaning rats, but it would also be nice to produce enough to feed my collection. Yeah, right. So there it is, man. It's tough. I don't know if I'll ever be man enough to do it, but maybe one day I can convince myself. But
yeah, it's about time. I'll see. I want to do it one time too, just to give it a go.
Yeah, just to see how it works. But
we'll see.
But
so,
anyways,
Jason. So for people kind of catching in right now, we've covered you're in Montana, right?
Yeah, southern Montana.
You primarily work with ball pythons. I've heard you mention doomerals.
So production wise, I work exclusively with ball pythons.
Okay.
That's more of a space necessity.
Yeah, right.
This stack behind me is what I call my pet projects. And so there were some other, I wanted to kind of branch out into owning some other species that I thought were cool, then potentially try my hand at 1 or 2 pairings of those a year. And just to have a little bit of variety, have a little bit of something else splashed around the table, at a show or shows. Nobody gets to go to those anymore. I'll tell you what, that's the thing that's driving me nuts. I have no access to shows anywhere. All of the Montana shows and all of the Denver shows have been canceled for the rest of the year. So I have no place to go.
I feel you, man. I'm in California.
But so this is kind of my pet project stuff. So I've got an albino head anery or possible head anery boa up here that Joel needs to send me the girlfriend for. That one over there is that's my male doomerals. He's not in there. He's down here. Obviously I've got the adult female doomerals down here she has produced. He has not. So we'll see how that goes.
Right.
And then the 2 in the middle are coastal carpet pythons.
Nice.
And so when I got her, I wanted a visual cage because I thought it would be super cool to see them react. I mean, the ball pythons are boring and they sit in the back in the corner in the dark and they don't care. And I knew that especially coastal carpets would be somewhat arboreal and want to climb and that. So that's why I set out to build the cage for her to be like a visual thing, and just so I could watch the reaction or interaction in that. And then I got the caramel stripe coast still here, and so it'll be kind of cool to put them together and see that interaction, but in like a 3-dimensional space, for breeding. Because obviously I made this log. It's just attached to the wall. I found this in the river down by my house. And baked it, and she loves it. She thinks she's a green tree python,
Right. Yeah, I know. That's what it looks like a green tree sitting there.
Yeah. So it's, I like this, and I'd love to have a bunch more of these in a variety of sizes for stuff. This might turn into a pet project rack, but with bigger tubs, like, the 5-foot boa drawers and the FB90s and stuff like that. So I have a little bit of room. I got bigger footprint in that. I had a Sumatran shorttail for a while, but it turned out to be a male, so I didn't want to wait for that. So I might get into bloods at some point. I might get a really cool, like a like a Golden Eye or a 007 or something like that. Just get 2 just to experience it, because the Bloods are super cool. I love those.
Yeah,
I really want to get
too.
I really want to get a pair of blacktail Crebos. That's my next one.
Yeah.
And I really want to get probably a trio of Super Dwarf retics from Garrett.
Garrett, he's been over to the facility.
That's going to take a little bit more work, because Python reticulatus is not legal in Montana, but Maleo Python reticulatus jampanaeus is not listed. So I got to fight the state on that one.
Gotcha.
Right, there you go. Okay.
Interesting.
Get the locality.
Or is that?
Yeah, they don't want to play with it because it still says Python reticulatus in the middle, so they assume it's all the same. So that's something that's going to take a lot more legwork.
Right.
Yeah. That's gonna be a fun one.
But
and I'm be a worthwhile one.
Yeah, and I'm not about to have a mainland retic or anything. Obviously, I don't have the room for it. And the reality is, I do the 99% of the work in here by myself. My wife will come in and help, but she's certainly not going to take the big snakes out. She won't even take out my doom rolls. I have to pull her out or whatever. And so I need something that, the doom rolls was kind of my intro to big snakes, so to speak.
Yeah.
But I wanted something that if it hit me and wrapped me up or whatever, that I still had a fighting chance by myself to remedy the problem. You get a 16-foot mainland retic and you get hit by one of those, and you're going to be screwed by yourself. And that's just dangerous.
Right.
Or a berm.
Right, yeah.
I wanted a pair of berms for a long time, but they're also not legal here either. But the same thing though, I can't work with an adult berm by myself. It's not smart.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So I went with boas, and then I'll go with Crebos, big, super big colubrids and stuff like that are still manageable, solo.
Yeah. Boas, I know. It's one of those things after having a couple of mainlands. Like my mainland isn't giant yet, but she's big enough, man. She's certainly big enough. She's strong enough where it's like, okay, yeah, this is an impressive animal. Like there's a lot of strength here. You got to be very cognitive of like, where the snake's tail is, always like swimming out, making sure you're not getting wrapped, all that stuff. Just because they're holding on, they're not even, they're strong. They're so strong, and they are so heavy that they're holding on so tight. It's crazy. It's wild, man. Yeah. Heck of a responsibility, those snakes. That's for sure.
Yeah.
I like how you put that, Jason, like as kind of newer people come into the hobby and they start kind of looking around, it's really easy to get captivated by that 8 to 12 inch cool looking baby.
Beautiful.
Fluorescent orange and purple.
The craziest looking snakes, dude. They're
insane colors that we can't get in ball pythons, but
insane.
And it's hard not to just get it and think, I'll be fine, I'm going to do this. But like, you evaluated your situation, right? Like you said, doing 99% of the work yourself, you're going to be spending a lot of time in the room by yourself. So having a massive snake that is responsible to have 2 people around isn't a realistic thing for you. So you didn't do it, right? That's the right answer. But you go to Garrett Hartle's place every once in a while, or go to reptile shows when they happen again, and you get to enjoy some of that stuff, right?
I try if I can pull it off. It's tough right now with all the COVID stuff because I can't do it with work, but I've made yearly 2 or 3 yearly trips out to Garrett's place now as part of my job. Not really, but, and I enjoy going out there and I work, and it's not just a play trip. I do go out and I help. Like the first time we went out, I helped him completely rebuild his show for the March Tinley his booth for the March Tinley show. I showed up on Monday afternoon, and they left Friday morning.
Wow.
For Tinley. And so we spent 3 days rebuilding his booth. And then last year I was there, and then I see him. He's in the chat here, Sailor Serpents, the guy that I'm wearing. Brian.
Yeah.
He and I flew out to Brian's place and got some tattoo work done, and then we drove up to Garrett's in February, and then the whole world came unglued. So who knows when we'll be back, but
Right.
No, Garrett's place. Garrett's cool because he's got everything from legitimately super small retics, smaller than this girl down here, to some. He doesn't have massive mainlands, but some of his breeders are, they're 12, 13 foot or whatever, and that. So you do get kind of a mix, just for the experience in that.
Right.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I'd love to check out his place in person. I think it'd be cool.
That would be wild.
Yeah,
that would be wild.
All the retics that I have here are from Garrett. So I don't have anything not from Garrett, but he produces great stuff. And that's why I started working with the super dwarfs. I was kind of making that decision, like as you kind of did as well. I was wanting a larger snake. I knew space requirements for myself were gonna kind of limit what was gonna be on the plate to choose from. And also, while my wife is typically in the other room, if the snake did get a hold of me, she wouldn't hear me here in the garage. I insulated this thing. She wouldn't hear me. It'd just be like, Heather. So be realistic as well. Working.
What line did you pick up from Garrett?
So I've got, all right. So I've got an orange ghost stripe. What is that? That's it. So the very first, let me start. My brain's going all over the place. The very first snake that I got from Garrett was a pure Calatoa. It was possible anery. As she's aging, she's looking for sure anery. So that was number one. And then number 2 through like 6 were
just a couple.
Right. I picked up 4 females that were from the Snow Project. So they're all Poshet Snows, running about 50%. And then the last purchase was a Golden Child Possible Het Orange Ghost Stripe female, and then a Visual Orange Ghost Stripe male.
So you're working towards that mini cow too.
Yes, that's what I know. I'm missing Phantom, right? Yep. And so,
but getting a Phantom male in a couple of years should be no big deal. With high percentage Phantom male should be easy.
Should be, definitely.
Yeah. And in fact, Garrett just did a video on how to spend $10,000 with him on that whole idea.
Oh, trust me. I have been talking for like the last 8 months about me getting a Phantom, and I'm just like, bro, I can't spend any money like that right now, man.
Oh, I know. I get calls from him regularly. When Brian and I were there in February, we cut the Pure Jamp clutch, the first ones that have been made in like a decade or whatever.
Right.
And then so Brian fell in love with the Jampea stuff, and my Achilles heel is all of the Slayer bloodline, because he had, the first year I was there, he had this Super Tiger Slayer head anery, I think it was. It was like It was like 50% Slayer or 85% Slayer, whatever it was. And this snake was every bit 100% Desert Ghost. Like, there's just something about the Slayer line that, when it's played with correctly, has that same Desert Ghost feel. It looks like it was drawn on with chalk.
Chalk, yeah.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
And I fell in love with the Slayer stuff, but you're talking about $2,500 a pair at least, and I just couldn't swing it.
Yeah. Especially on, it's not exactly legal where you're at, first off, and then it sounds like it would be more of like a pet project, and that's an expensive pet project.
Yeah, exactly.
Jerry just dropped the bomb in chat. He was saying that it's not doing good right now. Said Garrett is wearing an eye patch and is partially paralyzed from Lyme disease. Hope he gets better soon.
I saw the picture for his live stream, but I wasn't able to get in it. I wasn't sure if it was, if it was like a Halloween thing or so. I had no idea. I didn't watch it.
I really thought it was a Halloween thing too, and I was in the middle of work and wasn't able to join the live stream, and I haven't watched it. Well, shoot, man. Well, hope Garrett's doing all right.
Man, bummer.
Yeah, we'll have to reach out to him and see how he's doing.
Yeah.
Definitely.
That's wild.
That's tough. Anytime medical stuff pops up, and but hey, that's one great thing about the reptile community. We do all pull together. I know if Garrett needs anything, I'm here for him. So
definitely.
He's got my phone number. So
yeah. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, man, I know what you're saying with the retics kind of shifting back in. I love that about them, where each one of them, like the different localities have a different look. Like the Kalatoas look completely different, and they're throwing really cool greens and like compressed patterns in the two that I'm working with. Because I ended up getting the sister to the first female that I bought through Matt Byram. He sent that girl over. She's not Andrew, but she's sisters of that same clutch. So
yeah.
Well, what else you working with? As far as you got any lizards or anything? Or
I have one female super snow eclipse leopard gecko.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Dude. Oh yeah. Can you have it? Is she close by? Can we see it?
Yeah, I'll grab her.
Yeah, dude. How cool. How cool. That's a cool gecko.
Heck yeah.
Leopard gecko. Yeah. I want to get a couple leopard geckos. I want to get one of those black knights. These things are crazy.
Oh yeah.
Nice.
This is Luna. This was the shoe-in for my wife on owning reptiles.
Okay.
Right.
We didn't. She's like, "You're not owning a snake. That's absurd. Don't even talk about it." Then we went to the local show here, and we brought Luna home. And then after that, we brought home, after she found Luna, she picked out a snow hognose. I've got him directly right underneath there up there.
Right. Hognose.
And then I ended up with, after helping a buddy of mine here locally run his booth, I ended up with a banana. Was our first one.
There you go. Right.
And he's still down there. We'll always have him. He's in the rack too. But that turned into, one snake in one cage on my dresser, and is all decked out and pretty, and everything else turned into this.
Yeah.
It was the
gateway. It's the gateway. That's the gateway drug, is the leopard gecko.
This
right
is
there. They're such cool animals though. That is crazy though. So how long to you got to where you're at right now? How many years have you been doing this now?
Well, we're just going into season 3.
Okay.
But yeah, probably 3.5 years total from the time that we got her to what you see behind me.
No way. Wow. Okay. Yeah.
It happened very quick.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. That is fast, man. That is fast. Yeah. That was a explosive buying spree you must have went on there for a minute.
Yeah. It was, it was really, I'll put her in this tub over here. It was really interesting how that worked. I bought, we got the banana, and then I made the same mistake that everybody else does and look at the prettiest ones that are the cheapest. So that means they're all males, Right. And about that time, in all honesty, I know it's controversial on some channels, but what really got me to owning my first snake was Brian Barczyk. There's no doubts about that. Yeah, and so I started watching snake bites, and I went back through the whole catalog and watched them all. And then I started watching his vlog when he did the first, started doing that, and got my wife watching. Was like, look, they're super cool. They're not dangerous, whatever. That one's really pretty. I want to get one. She's like, no, we're not doing it. Yeah. So, and we still watch Brian's video every morning, like clockwork, today.
Yeah.
So,
every day. Right. Yeah.
And so we got the one, and then Brian's video kind of led me down the road to Morph Market a little bit. So I'd go into Morph Market and click, browse latest, and just scrolling through, and it's like, kid in a candy shop, right?
Explode. Yeah.
And Morph Market led me to Justin.
Right.
And then Justin led me back into YouTube to where I was watching his videos. And that's about the time that the whole emoji craze happened with his emoji dreamsicle.
Right.
And so I was set out. I was like, that's what I want to make a dreamsicle. That's it. Like that's the ultimate thing. Now my logo is a dreamsicle.
Yeah. Right.
I bought my second snake ever was a male pastel double head dreamsicle from Justin.
Right. Right.
Didn't make any sense whatsoever at the time. I had a male banana, and now I have a male pastel doublehead dreamster. Like, oh, okay, cool,
Right. Hey.
great.
Okay. Right.
You know?
Yeah. I like it. I like it. Bold moves.
Yeah, and then I picked a couple others. I've got a pin potion right here. That was female. That was early on, and then from there, I had like maybe 6 snakes or so. That's when my first video started to show up when I built my first combo rack, which is actually back here.
Right.
And I got hooked up with Justin, and he invited me to come down and see his place, his old spot. And so with my job, I have the ability to fly twice a year anywhere. And so I lined up with Justin, and I flew down to Atlanta and whatnot. And it was kind of cool, actually. When I showed up, I took him, because for those that don't know, I'm an air traffic controller. That's what I do for a real job.
Just gonna ask.
Okay. Yeah.
And so when I flew into Atlanta, he met me at the airport, and I took him up in the tower to see.
Right. Nice.
From my perspective, the airport he flies all over the world from,
Right.
which is kind of cool for those guys to be able to see the other side. Like when I went to visit Jay Brewer, I was going to take him up at LAX, but we just didn't get the time to do it.
Right.
And so I went to Justin's place, and I helped him clean, and we were, looking at all the animals and whatnot. And basically I came to him, and I said, right before I left, I said, all right, if I had X amount of dollars to spend with you today, based on this list of animals that I have already erroneously bought,
right,
what do I get?
Right.
And one of the things, we all praise Justin as, some higher power for the rest of us to look up to. But one of the things I like about him is, he didn't just walk around and pull open 6 tubs of hatchlings that he hasn't been able to offload and just say, here, this, for your price point, we'll do these ones.
Right.
He said, email me that list, give me 3 days, and I'll let you know.
Right.
And so I left, and a couple of days later, I got an email, and he had drawn up in an Excel spreadsheet like 5 different packages right in around that price point with a variety of different animals for me to look through and decide what we wanted.
Right.
And we ended up going with one, and it just so happened, just funny how things work out. The couple days I was there was right before he unveiled the Pompeii.
Okay.
By about a week or so, something like that.
Yeah.
And so I was going around, and I asked him, I was like, is there anything I cannot take a picture of?
Right.
He's like, go around. He told me, he's like, go around, open whatever tubs you want. And I said, is there anything I can't take a picture of? He pointed, he's like, this one you can take a picture of, but you can only show your wife. This one you can't even take a picture of. That one was the Pompeii at the time. The other one was a confusion combo.
Right.
And so when I got the list from him, one of the things that was at the top of every one of the packages was a male red stripe GHI.
Okay.
And I didn't know much about it. I mean, I read his shorthand code sticker across the front of the Pompeii and had no clue what any of it said. It was
right.
But and it was by far the most expensive snake in every one of the packages. And so I talked, and it was a male, and I talked over to my wife, and I called Justin. I said, okay, explain this to me. And he said, just trust me on this one.
Right.
He's like, just trust me, And so we went ahead and we picked a package. I've got a couple of the girls are going to be ready here, hopefully this year, and I've used that male quite a few times now. And as it was, I posted a bunch of stuff to my Instagram and whatnot, and then he comes out like a week or two later with the Pompeii and explains what it is. Right. And I had people beating down my door to buy my male for 2 and 3 times what I paid for it.
Right.
And because he knew as soon as it hit the floor, everybody was going to want it. I watched Morph Market crash.
Right. Right.
And that's when everybody went on the red stripe buying spree. That
was an impressive animal that he unveiled, and that is definitely the power of what you can do here if you see projects out. That's what Justin shows us time and time again.
And working with the right people, right? Because
working with the right people.
Plenty of people around that would have just been like, yeah, man, hand over your 10K. All right. And then you would have gotten like, but Justin sets you up for success, right? Because if you're successful, that reflects on him too. So
yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
for sure. That's pretty cool. Well, do you have any new projects that you're getting into? I know with the move and all of that life stuff going on, I don't know. Have you been planning?
Makes things difficult.
Yeah. In fact, we just drew up on the whiteboard. We drew up all of our pairing plans for this season. Part of the problem is kind of the middle section of that story. There was a guy, my buddy here in town, that got my first snake from. He found a dude that was getting out of the hobby for whatever. He was being evicted from his house and yada, yada, yada. He's like, I need to get rid of all these animals, right? So
He's done.
James and I drive over there. This place is absolutely gross. You know, the animals are, there's dead mice in there. The animals have been underfed. They look like shit, whatever the case may be. But he's got an older 1070 rack and a bunch of animals, and James and I go back and forth and like, all right, I'll take these 6 or 8 or whatever. You can have these ones and whatnot. We're gonna quarantine them all with you because I don't want them anywhere near my house.
Right.
And James went out and like pressure washed and bleached the rack and everything, and we quarantined because the albinos had like ridiculous mites. It was. In all honesty, in hindsight, don't ever go that route. That was a horrendous idea.
Yeah.
Right.
But that's where I got kind of a jump start for my first season because I bought whatever it was, 5 or 6 adult females.
Gotcha.
Yeah. You got started quick.
Yeah. The problem is I now have a bunch of single gene adult females. I don't have any of this multi codon crazy this and that stuff to be super competitive in the upper echelon or the higher end market,
Right.
So yeah, that's been kind of and I've been having to buy some other animals and possets here and that to try to kind of catch up a little bit. But I'm hoping we've made some cool stuff this year, but I'm hoping next year I can make enough off of what I've got to start buying a couple more good sized adult females to add that either are, 3 or 4 gene codom stuff that I can start adding my recessives to, or maybe pick up a visual clown and a visual pied and a visual ultramel and kind of double up on what I've already am doing, because we all know that recessives are where this is all going, in double and triple recessives down the road. So I got to kind of get caught up there. That's the tough part. And the other issue is we made the decision after last season when my tax lady ran all my taxes for last year. It was really ugly. And so we decided at that point that the 20 season was going to be snake money in, snake money out, period. Right. So we're 100% cash basis, no debt, no credit. This entire room was built with snake money. The other upgrades I have coming in the next couple months were all done with. I've had to literally produce, get feeding, sell, ship, hold the money back instead of buying animals.
Right.
And so I'm hoping next season is going to be the same thing, but instead of an infrastructure upgrade, next year will be
you can do
an animal
genetic upgrade. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the Dave Ramsey philosophy of snake breeding, right? I love it. And that wasn't a dig,
absolutely.
man.
I like it.
I'm trying to go full Dave Ramsey at some point, but that's a different story.
I like that. It's setting it up. That's how most of us start, though. Like I started in a handmade, didn't look like your handmade. I'll tell you that handmade rack, and it was bowed and it got wet and it warped and it was made out of melamine and the tubs didn't slide in and out, and that's what we used. So it's crazy to see the evolution if you're willing to put some time into it. Now you're going on your 3rd season, and you're hoping maybe this 4th season is going to kind of be the maybe reinvestment year. So now then that 5th year is going to be your profit year.
And that's the other thing we did this year, because I was looking at some of the stuff I produced this season, and I could repeat a bunch of that stuff and make more of it that made decent money and just kind of rinse and repeat, deal. But I looked at what I had available to play with, and I was like, I need to be. I can't think ahead like Justin. I don't understand how his brain works to see 6 different genes and say 8 years from now the Pompeii will show up. Like, I don't get that.
Yeah.
But
right.
I looked at what I had and it's like, I need to be 3 or 4 years down the road here if I'm going to really stick in and keep doing this. So this season is going to be a lot of double head stuff, a lot of holdback, a lot of planning for the future. I've got a couple double head things I did already, but there's a couple things I want to try for that I think are going to look super cool. And we need to start that now because I'm already behind the curve.
Yeah. Time, man. Time is what we're buying in this industry. That's for sure.
Yep.
Takes a lot of time to get there.
But I feel that's what I did this last season. It was supposed to be my hat making year, but that got delayed. So this season coming up is going to be.
Now is your hat making year. Yeah.
One of the projects I'm actually really excited about, the clutch is due to cut in about 2 weeks, I guess, is I did a cinnamon ultramel to pewter G-stripe.
Ooh, awesome.
Because I want to see if it's probably already been made, but I want to see the ultra stripe. And I'm curious, seeing how cinnamon works or black pastel, the one works with genetic stripe and completely blows away the pattern and makes it solid color. And seeing how my cinnamon pinstripe ultramels came out this year, I wonder if the cinnamon or pewter ultra stripe is going to be all of that purple part of the ultramel or all of the orange, and I don't know the answer to that question.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. That in my mind, I'm trying to think, and I'm not sure which way that would go either.
Yeah, that might be interesting.
I might need to bring a bright color back to it, or I need to go the other way and use the pinstripe ultramel that I have to bring in some more pattern. But I might go pick up like a lesser bamboo or a lesser leopard G stripe from Garrick DeMeyer or something and put it to my female down here. So I have light double hets to put to my real dark double hets or my super city double hets or whatever.
Bringing everything together. Right.
So,
Dale Richards, he's saying it'll be orange. That's his vote. Is that
orange?
We'll see.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah. Hey,
that's gonna be the closest thing to the lavender golden child retics, right?
Right. Yeah.
That is true.
The G stripe lavenders ball pythons are really pretty too. Some of them are super pretty. Yeah.
And so next, I'll give you a sneak peek. Next season, I've got my double head ultra stripe clutch cooking. So I'll have some females. Hopefully I'll hold back, and then I'll do it another year from now or whatever for some males. And next season, I'm putting a pinstripe clown male that I got from the JT auction to that same girl to make double head ultra or G-stripe clowns for the same reason.
Right.
Because I think the cinnamon G-stripe clown should be killer.
Yeah, I agree. Yes. Yeah, I think that'll be really cool. So you're jumping on the G-stripe clown project too. I see a lot of people shifting.
Yeah, I like that look. I think it's cool. It's funny though because I saw Billy's G-stripe clown stuff that he made. That he made this year, and I have a super inchy calico pinstripe in that clutch that I just cut that looks just like it, pattern wise.
Right.
Isn't that funny? Like how you throw enough of the incomplete DOMs together, and sometimes you'll produce something that looks like a recessive. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, it's weird how I don't know, man.
It is. Yeah,
it's about this. It
is. Yeah. Dale's saying he's going to work the genetic stripe clown ultramel too.
Ooh, there we go.
That is a great angle. I like that.
Yeah,
and I do have a
long project though.
I do have a super secret potential triple hat project this season.
Ooh,
that I'm not telling most people about. So
right
now. Do it
for the internet.
I'll tell you this much: the female is a pinstripe desert ghost.
Ooh.
That is allegedly, it's a weird story, but allegedly is the sister to Justin's pin DG pied.
Okay.
Female.
We got two.
Which if that's the case, then she has to be at least poshet pied.
Right.
If she's related.
Right.
So I've got a long-term plan with her to see that I might come up with some cool ideas. So
yeah, especially if that proves out.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, we're hitting that hour mark. So I feel like this is our perfect time to jump into some lightning round questions, man. Are you ready for that, dude? Are you ready? Yeah,
I've studied up a little bit.
Right. Okay. So these are going to be completely different. I'm going to make them up right now. So no, I'm kidding. Here's the first one, dude. This is one of my favorite ones. What is your spirit animal? I love hearing this one.
I've always been akin to otters for whatever reason.
Otters, dude.
Yeah.
Okay, I've never heard otter.
Nice
Yeah. Okay, dude. Unique. I like that. Okay,
Joel's
good,
was a
good.
butterfly, but it's okay. So.
Well, yeah, like I don't know. I don't want to get into it right now, really, but I mean,
Sorry,
you
man, sorry.
know. What's your favorite candy, dude?
Oh, I'll be honest with you, I'm not a big
Ew.
sweets person in general.
Oh, I knew it. I knew it. Can't be trusted.
Can't be.
I'll tell you what. I just found
black licorice. I'm out.
No, dude, absolutely not. I don't like anise in anything.
Right.
I just recently the other day found, I don't know if they're like a Halloween thing or a fall thing or whatever, but there's M&Ms out that have like the crunchies inside from like a Crunch bar, and those are on
like
point.
Rice Krispie
Yeah.
M&Ms kind of. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I need to find those. Find those. Those sound great because I love the Crunch bar. I love that, dude. I do like that. That's a good one. Crunch bar. I haven't had one of those in a long time. Now I know what I'm doing tonight. Yeah. So this is probably maybe obvious, but where would you rather vacation is? Hawaii or Alaska?
Well, I've actually been to Alaska twice.
Okay.
I've never been to Hawaii, so hopefully that answers your question.
So Alaska. Got it.
I've not been to Hawaii because I don't want to go. It's just I've never had the opportunity. I've been to Alaska twice fishing, and it's an absolutely insane state. I was blown away.
Yeah,
if you're an outdoorsy person, that's the place to go. First time I went was on a cruise through like the fjords and all that crap. Like it's phenomenal. Insane.
Right. Beautiful up there for sure.
I want to do one of those Alaskan cruises. That sounds pretty cool.
They look really nice. Okay, so last question, the inaugural question.
Both.
Both. Oh, button and fly. You're a button flyer. Okay, dude.
I have multiple occasions gone both ways.
Okay.
Oh man,
I used to. I will tell you, Joel. I don't own any button fly anymore.
That's it.
Okay.
I did for a while own whatever they are, the 529s or whatever, the Levi's that come with the button fly. So
yeah, there you go. Okay, all right. So you're a
I had
sellout,
I had those pants in my like military physique days when I could actually fit into them. Now I need
yeah. Now it's waistband. Just waistband. Yeah.
Just sweatpants all the time.
Yeah. Just look like they're splitting open. It's no good for anybody.
Right. I like that. No. Yeah, I like that, man. No, that was good, dude. Okay, you're our first hybrid. I'll call you a hybrid right now, or a two-wayer. I'm not.
I like hybrid better.
Okay, yeah, all right. Hybrid. I didn't know if we had any questions pop up in chat, but there was something I wanted to talk to you about. You know, trying to be a little cognitive of people's time. You posted a video recently of the Scaleless head pieds. What's kind of your take on Scaleless project? How invested are you in that? Maybe want to talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, I mean, I did. If anybody, those that follow me on Instagram and YouTube, I did hit a Scaleless this year. Hit 1 out of 4. It was a perfect odds, exactly the way it should have been. And as she's colored up in that, I do think she is Enchi. It's hard to tell. You know, it's really hard anyway. And she is for sale because, again, I got stuff to do. I'd love to keep her, but you know
And is that this girl here? Oh,
yeah. So she's a pastel Scaleless possible Enchi. Came from a pastel Enchi Scaleless head to a Scaleless head.
Great.
Ooh, nice. Dude.
And the cool thing is she's eating frozen thawed fuzzies off of tongs without hesitation and shedding perfectly. And I have her in exactly the same setup as every other hatchling in my rack.
Awesome.
No way. So what is that setup?
She's in an FB5, the little gray FB5 tub on Cocoa Blocks, just like everybody else.
Just like everybody else, right?
Yeah,
very cool.
Tim Bailey actually told me, he's like, I keep all of my Scaleless just like every other snake. I don't know what anybody's so worried about. So that's what I figured I would try. You know,
She looks so cool, man. Look at that.
I like the project because, as far as I'm concerned, the Scaleless gives the hobby a chance to completely redo every single combination ever done, because they're all going to look totally different after the fact.
100%, right.
When they brought out the Scaleless Pied, I was like, it's just insane, because the way that the color is drawn, the way that the lines are cut up, I mean, it's totally bizarre. So you start thinking down the road of especially with recessive, what you could do with it. My issue is, and this is obviously I'm not special here with this opinion, but there has been zero transparency from the leaders of this project. So none of us know that are on the bottom if we're wasting our time. You know,
right.
I know there's a lot of controversy about where the original one went and how that all happened with Brian and Winston and all the guys at the Daytona show and this, that, and the other. And I don't care about all the controversy. The fact of the matter is, there's the Winston or the BHB line or the Winston Smith line, either one, and then there's the micro scale stuff. I personally believe they are, if not the same, allelic, and will still, if you put one to the other, you'll get a Scaleless. But that's not the issue. The issue is you've got these guys that are big players in the game that have tons of Scaleless and Scaleless head stuff, and have for many years, long before I got here. But I've been watching this progression for almost 4 years now, and there still is not a Scaleless female on eggs with proof.
Right.
That's the issue, and I don't know that. I have a hard time believing that they're not viable, but I have a hard time arguing that because we don't have anything else to go on.
Right.
So my theory is, in this case, I'll still probably make a couple a year just because I like them, and I do want to make one to keep at some point. But I'm gonna from now forward, until we start to see some viability, I'm gonna use Scaleless head as an enhancing gene with a lethal super like Champagne and Spider and Spot Nose and stuff like that. We all have stuff in our collections that you cannot make a super of for whatever reason. Why should Scaleless head be any different? And I've got plenty of animals that I've produced and kept to show that the Scaleless head is influencing the look of the animal in general, and oftentimes influences the entire clutch, even if it's not a Scaleless head animal. I have a pastel Enchi back here from last year that is now a little over a year old and is hands down the brightest pastel Enchi I've ever seen, and she is not Scaleless head, but I'm convinced that she is being influenced from the Scaleless head in the entire clutch.
Right.
That's
look at the pied Scaleless head too. I mean,
that's my holdback male. I made 3 of those this year, and I decided to hold one of the males back.
Nice.
I'm going to repeat that pairing this year so I can hopefully hit a female to hold on to.
It's right.
Yeah, that's cool. Man.
Yeah, but I mean, you can even see in there that that's kind of a little bit bizarre of a pied pattern, a little bit. And right where your mouse is, there's like a dual color, almost like a paradox. It came out in 2 completely different shades.
Right.
And I've seen, so that one just happens to be side by side. The other 2 have 2 separate color palettes in their pied as well. And I'm convinced that it's Scaleless head that's influencing it as like an enhancer gene. So why not just use it that way?
Yeah. Well, and that's how Kevin from Nerd, that's how he talks about this this project quite a bit, is the micro scale he's using as an enhancer in most of his stuff, right? He's not even shooting for the fully scaleless animals. He's you know.
Yeah, I mean, why is it okay? I just produced that mimosa clutch, and I love champagne. I think it's a highly underrated and underutilized gene. There's enough to be done with it to make it look really cool without it just being a solid, patternless animal.
Yeah, yeah,
But why is it okay for us to make champagne combos when we all know that the super champagne is 100% lethal, so nobody's allowed to do it?
right.
But I can't make a bunch of scale combos and sell it as a better animal than just whatever I was producing without it.
What is the intent with the project? Only have to be making scaleless animals, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Right.
So I think there should be a balance where you can do both. If you want to go full scaleless, work the project. I'll probably make a couple, but my focus is going to be adding it to a bunch of other things. Like, why would I think the scaleless? Obviously the scaleless head clowns turned out awesome. Scaleless head hypo stuff should look really cool. Like it might affect a bunch of stuff we're not used to.
Yeah.
Right. Definitely.
And speaking of champagne a bunch, I mean, this snake you produced with champagne. I mean, imagine that with a scaleless head. What would be happening with this color, right?
What would change? Yeah, who knows?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that's a super pretty snake, man. I like that a lot.
I'm not 100% sure what it is, but I've only got like 3 choices. So I just, I think it's a Mojave Mimosa, but it's tough to say.
Right.
Is this just the champagne? Because I know champagne can throw ringers.
That should just be champagne.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, which is a cool thing, about champagne, man. They look like pieds a lot of times.
So in that clutch, I haven't posted a picture of the other one. In that clutch, I actually ended up with 2 of those. I ended up with 2 mimosas, 2 champagne combos, and 2 hypo Mojaves. It was a perfect split.
Right. Okay.
One of the hypo Mojaves never made it out of the egg. The other champagne combo tried to get her way out, but she was all twisted up with her umbilicus and that. So about 4 days ago, I went ahead and tied it because the sac was getting hard and it was looking really ugly and gross in the egg and that. So I went ahead and tied it and cut it. And she looked awful. Like she's probably 50% of the size of that one. Wow, just really desiccated in that. I put her in the tub to shed with everybody else, and she's hands down the most active snake in the group. But weirdly enough, her color is like a super light steel blue, not that dark gray.
Dark gray, right.
But everything else is the same. And I think it's what's probably happening is because she never finished absorbing the yolk sac, her color has not come in yet.
Right.
I agree with you on that for sure.
So I've had to do that with 2 animals this year. I had a bell that I had to cut early on. I assist fed it once. It took off eating after that and was just fine. So
Right. Yeah, beast morphs. Great example of why champagne is super underrated. I agree. I completely agree to that.
I've got some other plans I want to do with that too. So
yeah, as you should, man. We were talking a little bit before chat. I saw a really cool combo in Tinley last year with the banana and champagne and yellow belly, and it made this striped banana looking snake, but it had a ringer on it, and it was just, I don't know, it was so pretty looking. So there's a lot of room there.
What would the champagne ultra stripe look like?
Right. Yeah. Crazy.
And if I keep this girl, I can do it with a hypo in there too. Anyway, so it's just
that's the fun again. Just coming back to everybody's view on this is a little different. It's all personal, and so the twists that you make, I'm not going to be thinking about them more than likely. So that's what's fun. I love talking with people, figuring out kind of how you're looking at it. So,
well, I do have a champagne scaleless head. You asked what that looked like. I've got a champagne scaleless head right here. And I like my champagnes very dirty, very sooty looking.
Right.
But that's what this is just a champagne scaleless head, and she's super high expression.
Yeah.
But she's really, really dirty champagne.
Yeah, that's crazy. And there's so much variance within the champagnes, right? Yeah, she's very patternless on the side, the top dorsal stripe. Very cool. Huh?
Yeah, that's neat. Yeah.
But because I'm curious on how it'll work, I'll probably breed her to another scaleless egg because I think the scaleless champagne should be really interesting to see what you get. How much of that sootiness is just in scales?
Yeah, what is it just going to be a white snake, or is it going to be gray, dark gray?
knows?
With the,
Yeah.
yeah, that could be crazy, dude. That could be a crazy scaleless snake, and that is what's cool. That is a cool thing about what you were talking about. You know, you touched on if scaleless is a gene that lets us do everything over, which is really cool when we get genes like that. Similar genes, obviously, are a lot of recessive-like genes, because I would argue, you know, scaleless is a little recessive, but desert ghost, I feel like it's the same way. Adding that in, yeah, that's cool, man. That was interesting to see with the scale stuff.
Yeah.
Yep.
I saw in the chat right here, Jeremy was asking what the champagne pied looks like. It looks just like that with the ringer, except they're much larger, typically. So champagne can throw those super high ringers that look like they're pied. Even het pieds do that. Champagne pied is like just magnified, you know, very little pattern, just solid blotches of color on an all white snake.
Kind of like what some of the bell complexes do.
Yeah.
Like they're very blotchy colored. Yeah.
That's why I try to do a lot of pied stuff, because I like white snakes, but you can't get a better, more pure white than you do out of a pied. And
True.
so that's why some people are like, they love a lot of pattern. I guess I like a good 50-50 split. I oftentimes like a high white pied, just because you can't get a pure white pied or a pure white animal otherwise.
Right.
Yeah, because the bells aren't pure white typically, right? You know, they're dirtied some way, either a little bit on the head or dorsal or other places.
My super fires that I've produced the last 2 years have been pretty close, because mine are super low pattern, so they don't have much yellow in them at all. Mm-hmm. But that's as close as I've gotten, other than a pied.
Yeah, Rich McCall is agreeing with you. Pied white is the best white. You know?
Yeah. I've got a handful of pied stuff, and I love it. It's just, and I don't know if you saw in a post recently, but I did. So I bought a pied 66% het lavender a few years ago, female. And this past season, I was able to put that pastel double het dreamsicle from Justin to her. So I went double het to visual pos het, proved her out, hit a lavender het pied male, and a pied and a pastel pied possible het lav. That right there is my holdback female. That girl has got some of the most incredible colors in person that I've ever seen out of a pied.
Yeah.
Look at her.
It goes from like orange to pink to white to a little bit of gray to back to orange. Yeah. It's like a peach color. And then the non-pastel one is very similar, but it's like multiple colors in that. It's really, that one is so orange. And I don't know why. The weird thing is, I talked to Justin probably a year and a half ago about this pied pos het lab, now het lab female I had. And he said, if you look at the ones that are het lab, there's not a marker for lavender like there is for other genes, but he looked at that, and if I put my two pieds side by side, you can see it. The edges of the pattern on a het lav tend to have more of like an orange highlight to them that's much brighter than the rest of the color.
Okay.
And so you look at where the pattern meets the white on that snake and on the pastel, and the pastel's got pink in it for whatever reason. But I'll bet you, if I were a betting man, I'd say both of those are going to prove, based purely on what Justin told me and I saw with the female.
Right. Yeah. Right.
But as somebody that loves high white pieds, because I like white, these two are killer, and I could not have asked for more, because they are as patterned as you can get. And it's
great looking snakes, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are rad. And that is a trick too, getting a low white pied, you also want pattern there too. And sometimes you get those low white pieds that lose a lot of pattern, but there, dude, with the striping and stuff like that, there's a lot going on that animal. That's really cool, man. Yeah. Impressive.
Yeah, very nice. So Jason, last question before we kind of get wrapping up. I know, we want to be aware of everybody's time. If money wasn't an object right now, what gene would you invest in? If you didn't, no money concerns, you just got to go buy whatever you wanted.
Yeah. Give me project, dude.
Oh man.
This is a tough question, man. There's a lot out there.
Tri-stripe.
Okay. Cool.
I really want to work tri-stripe. In fact, I was talking to Warren Reptiles a couple weeks ago because I saw his picture of the pure candy tri-stripe that he made and was blown away. That's the other thing I think I've got lavender stuff in here, so I don't want to work regular albino. I'd rather just work lavender. So I think I'm gonna pull in for that other part of the market. I'm gonna pull in and work pure candy, just because I like the purples in that, and that way I'll just keep them all separate and it won't matter. But Warren Reptiles made that pure candy tri-stripe, and I was floored.
Yeah.
You know, and I think the problem with a gene like that, or Monsoon, or something, I mean, even Puzzle to a little bit of extent, but some of the stuff I've seen has been pretty cool. You get those heavy pattern genes like that, is trying to figure out how to work with them in color and pattern, but work a pattern in that's going to change it. Like I'm not, I don't know enough on how the genes all work to know, like in Monsoon, for instance, what is going to override that Monsoon pattern.
Yeah, that pure,
This thing is insane.
Yeah, that is a wild snake, man. That is a wild
idea, man. Yeah, I like that. That's
that's pretty.
Yeah, and he's got hets for sale, and I want to get a couple.
Yeah, I can see why, dude. That's gorgeous.
Yeah,
I mean, imagine throwing blackhead at that, or or mahogany, or what, like just add some dark sooty color to it and really get the contrast to come to life.
Sure. Or even seeing what Confusion or Leopard would bring, because
throw a really heavy pattern gene at it. Yeah.
Sure.
Or like an acid or a Confusion, like you said.
Right.
I will real quick. I will say that's one of the things as a quote unquote newbie. I was actually talking to my wife about this earlier today. That it's kind of frustrating when you get a lot of these genes that appear or have been proven to be the same, and they've all got a variety of names, and they all come at a variety of different prices. It's so hard when you're first coming in to figure out what's what, how it works, what to buy, what to use, stuff like that. And I've been watching this whole Blitz Trick Hurricane controversy for the last week on Facebook. It's been enjoyable.
I'm sure our video didn't help that. So
I will say on the Kodam side, stuff I don't have, I would like to work that Confusion, acid, static, whatever. I think I like what it's doing, but I think when I'm ready to do it, Levance has some really nice stuff for sure. But I will say the line, I guess, of those genes that I like the best I've seen so far is Josh Jensen's acid stuff.
Dude, I've been really looking
his acid stuff, like my champagne. I like that really dark, sooty. It looks like it's dropped in a bucket of coal. You know, it's just, you know, his acid stuff is phenomenal. And so you imagine putting his acid stuff in that pure candy candy tri-stripe.
Yeah,
you know?
Right.
So
definitely
that would be a cool project, man.
Yep.
But tri-stripe is one I'd be interested in. I thought I had a chance at Puzzle. At some point, I'm not 100% sure my female possible het's even going to make it through the end of the year. She's been doing really rough lately. You know, it happens. You do, you know, I probably will buy into another het puzzle female here shortly. I have a ready to breed het puzzle male. And then I've got like the longest odds of all time up here on sunset stuff. I've got one pairing this season that's a butter 66% het to a pinstripe 50% het. But I am deliberately not, aside from these. I got these from Tim up at Serpent Chamber. But I'm deliberately not into sunset because as far as I've seen thus far, with very few exceptions, one of which being the Hypo Sunset, I thought that turned out really nice.
Yeah.
I have not been impressed with sunset at all.
Yeah.
In my opinion, I don't care how good they look, they're all brown.
Oh, dude. Colorblind you are, I see.
I'll be honest though, I've not seen any in person, so that might be a game changer. But it's just you know, it's something. It's really expensive to get into still, much like the Monsoon stuff. It's super expensive to get into, and it seems like it is ridiculously overpowering. And so I kind of wait. I want to wait to see what it looks like to peel it apart and use it deliberately like that. You know,
Right.
when Joel hits the sunset pieds and they look insane, then I'll be like, well, damn, I should have got into it. But when he hits the sunset pieds and it looks like a normal pied, I'm going to secretly laugh inside.
Right, okay, fair enough. So you're thinking that a gene that overpowers everything won't overpower the pied?
What?
I just don't know.
Sunset's overpowering everything, but the sunset pied's going to be normal.
I just don't know. I just don't know how it's either going to be insane or super underwhelming.
Yeah, but that's with any project. Yeah. That's the same thing with everything you just talked about too. You know, I mean, that's what's fun about this. It is that right there. You know, it's seeing, you know, where can we take this and how far can it go. But I do agree with some of the sunset stuff. I think my favorite thing is the hypo. Honestly,
yeah,
I
agree with that because that brought away some of that just basic brown crap and gave it some color.
I agree. Yeah. I feel like it does similar stuff like black pastel. Like black pastel hypos, I think are really cool. Yeah. Like brings up that orange and stuff like that. And elegant just that DG, right?
I'll tell you where I think sunset is really going to shine because of the color palette it does work with. I think the sunset lav is going to be ridiculous.
Yeah,
and I think sunset, when used with something else, whether it's going to be a dark gene like blackhead or mahogany or black pastel or something like that, I think sunset in ultramel is going to be killer.
Yeah, I can see that.
I think that's going to be the thing that brings even more brightness and color out of an ultramel.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what I was going to say. I think the trick with sunset is going to be amping up the reddish tones that we see as a baby, right? That
and trying to get them to stick.
Right, because it seems like melanin production as it goes starts shifting away from red and into like a duller color, which is very typical for most ball pythons, right? Like they're producing most of that color in that 600 gram range, and then it kind of diminishes from that point. So whatever we can do to hold it as strong as we can, and I agree. That's why I was really bummed for the Partho clutch Miguel and I had, because I think Puzzle is gonna help out sunset, because Puzzle works with yellows and oranges very, very well, right? It really complements any orangish yellows. So I'm hoping that's what it'll do to that color palette. So
that should be cool. And they're both busy. You know, sunset's super busy. Mm-hmm. Hopefully that works, man. But the thing is, I think really what you're getting at is it's not worth it to you for what you're doing. It's just not worth it.
And the problem is because I have to do all this on a cash basis, I just it's not cost effective for me to be able to play in that game. Absolutely. And I just don't have the space or the resources to be into every project. Now, if I hit some on this, I'll probably cry. And I'll completely change my tone. It'll be the most beautiful snake ever created. Although I'm interested to see a butter pinstripe sunset. That might be kind of cool. Go really light with it instead.
Right.
That might bring something to the table as well. So I agree, man.
Yeah. Yep. It is. It's cool, man. It's that's what's fun. Hopefully that works, dude. If that clutch proves out, I will be blown away. That would be the craziest clutch of 2020.
I have been super lucky this year. I missed on one of my I had a chance at making slicks, and the male didn't. Your male. The Black Pearl. You just send me a dud. No, just kidding.
I know. The girl.
I'm gonna shelve him for this year. I'm gonna hopefully pick up a couple more hypo females, adult females in the off season, and try him again next year. I'll give him one more shot. But I didn't hit any on 13 eggs out of one visual and one head. So
right.
But other than that, I did prove out my GHI Mojave possible het clown, and I proved out my possible het lavender female. And so we've been doing pretty good on these possums so far. So I'm kind of trying to keep that rolling and hopefully hit that one up there.
Yeah, I like it. Dude, that'd be cool. Yeah, you have to keep us updated.
And my last clutch of the season, clutch 19 that's cooking, is my chance at a Sumapide. So I hope I didn't use up all my luck this year. I've got 4 eggs on a het-to-het. It's as bad at odds as possible, but we'll see.
Hey, dude. You know, it doesn't matter, right? It doesn't matter. Odds
For
mean
sure.
nothing, right? They mean nothing to that egg, just to the numbers. That's
Exactly.
cool, man. Well, I want to say, dude, thanks for jumping on here. It was cool to get a little meet and greet. Cool to hear about your caging and how you're really passionate. I feel like about setting this up efficiently. Obviously aesthetically, dude. It's what you're building is awesome. Dude, I'm pumped to see some more Scaleless heads.
Yeah, appreciate it. And huge shout out to Universal Rock. I just drew a massive mind blank. Huge shout out to Universal Rock, Stuart down there in Dallas. That's where all the backgrounds came from.
I was going to ask. I forgot. Okay. Cool.
Yeah, it's all Universal Rock stuff. After I saw them build the first rendition of the Reptarium, I called him, and so I was down there last year on one of my work trips, and hung out for a while. And he sent me a bunch of backgrounds and that, and so this would not have happened without him. So that was killer. And then I have to, in all fairness, shout out James Dvorak at Big Sky Reptiles and Enclosures here in town in Montana. That's the CNC that all this stuff was built on. So
awesome.
Nice.
If the people need racks or cages or whatever, he's got a full 4x8 CNC table that we build stuff on now. So.
Right. There you go, man. That's good. That was going to kind of be the next question, man. Where can everybody find you out? I know you're pretty prevalent on social media, but what's the best spot?
Easiest is Instagram, in all honesty. Facebook works. The messages, I have an auto reply on it because the Facebook Messenger app is garbage, and so I never get any alerts that I have messages until well after the fact. So Instagram's the easiest. It's at MorphMixology everywhere except YouTube. I think YouTube is MorphMixology Reptiles, but I mean, it's at this point it's not hard to find. And then I'm on Morph Market, and morphmixology.com/available has all my availability lists with pictures and everything to us. So, and I just spent 3 hours last night updating inventory on both sites. So
cool. So
everything's current. I get questions almost daily about shirts and that. I don't keep a stock of shirts on hand. Unfortunately, it's just not cost effective. So I run everything through Store Frontier. So there's a link on my website that goes to there, and it's all drop ship. Whatever you order just comes out eventually.
Hey, shout out to Store Frontier, man. Terminus Tees.
They do a great job. They just don't ship. They don't ship to Canada. I cannot tell you how many people I've had from Canada try to order a shirt on my website and they can't because it doesn't ship to Canada.
Bummer. Yeah, I didn't know that. That's crazy though. Yeah, that's a cool function though. That's cool, man. The website. Dude, sounds like you kind of have every angle covered there. You got your Facebook, you got your Instagram, you got your YouTube, you got your website. So there's no way you can't get a hold of Jason, and y'all need to go check out that inventory list because I know that there's a couple snakes on there that are pretty damn good. So again, man, thank you so much for coming in tonight. I know it's getting late for everybody. We really do appreciate it.
Thanks for the offer, man.
Yeah, dude, we have one last fire question. Favorite cocktail?
Oh, I'm a whiskey drinker, hands down.
There it is. All right.
I'm a JMO and ginger ale fan all the way.
Oh, there you go.
I'm super classy, if I'm having a super classy night, it's Remy Martin cognac, but it's Jameson.
Okay, yeah, I like that. All right. Well, thank you everybody tonight for tuning in. Really appreciate it as always. Next week, Adam and I will be on here ranting about nothing. Jump on for that. But until next time, man, thank you so much. And Adam, what do you got for us?
Oh, that's it, man. Yep. Thanks, everybody. Yeah. Thanks, Jason.
Right.
I appreciate y'all. And I'll hit the button for us, Joel. Okay. So have a good night, y'all.
See y'all later, man.
Yep. Thanks, guys.